Hello everyone and welcome to another tree tutorial here on my channel. Today we're going to be seeing how to make this really nice looking oak tree, almost willow tree with some of these leaves hanging down. It's pretty simple, but you will need to be using World Edit to make this. And if you don't know how to use World Edit, that's completely fine. I'll be giving you the commands and the steps that you need to make or take to make it look like this. So let's get started. Now, let's analyze the tree just for a little bit, okay? You see the trunk, we have stairs, we have fences on it, and even on the top parts we have some fences kind of sticking out of the main branches. And then we have the leaves with some of the strands coming down a little bit lower, and that might be a little bit more clear on this tree. It's a really nice style of tree and it looks really good on maps. So let's see how it's done. I already have this trunk pre-made, but let's see how it was made. If you notice, the bottom is a bit thick, with the bottom parts here. We might actually add a little bit more here to it. The way I did this, I made it all out of sponge first, and then I did / replace near, and then I did a radius of like 30, and we're replacing sponge with the ID, which is 1712. And notice it changed to the full 6-sided logs. Now, the main branch, or the tallest one that you're making, I kind of like making it a bit curved. And then the second one, it'll be curved as well, but it'll be a bit smaller. So it'll be almost two different layers, the top layer and the bottom layer. Now, you could do this with just one main branch, the tree, instead of having these two branches. But here I'm going to be teaching you how to do the two branch style, since this is probably a bit harder to do. And it'll be better for you to learn this than learning how to do just the individual tree itself. So once you have the trunk down, we're going to be adding fences to it, and this is completely optional, but the reason I like doing it is because whenever we place down the leaves, these smaller branches, they kind of act as support, and it doesn't look weird just having a ton of leaves around just that little branch, right? So by adding other branches to it, it expands it and it doesn't make it look as awkward. It may not be too noticeable in the finished version, but it's it's the small little details that matter. So we'll do something like this for this taller one. That should work. And we'll do something similar like that for the smaller one. And for this, we're using spruce fences since they match the color of the wood a little bit better. Let's see, something like that. We'll make one stick out here as well. And maybe just one a little bit here. So this is all to your own eye. See what looks good. There's no specific way on how these small branches are supposed to look like. It's all up to you. Okay, now let's get to making the actual brushes for the leaves. If you've never made brushes in World Edit before, that's fine. What you need to do is you need to select some items, ideally out of the materials tab, to use as brushes. So in this case, we'll be using a stick, a blaze rod, and an emerald, and I'll be using the gold nugget as an example on how to make these brushes. Okay, so first of all, you need to do /br sphere. We are going to be doing 30% 1812, which is the leaves, and then we will be doing 70% 0, which is the air. And for this, we're just going to have a radius. We'll start with a radius of 3. Okay, let's do an example here on how this looks like. Notice how it breaks the ground. We're going to need to add a mask so this does not happen. To add a mask, you do /mask. We'll do 18 for the leaves and 0 for air. Look, now it doesn't break it. And whenever we make the leaves here on the tree, it's not going to be breaking any of the fences or of any of the logs. So let's do that with these 3 items here. So this one will make it a size of 3. This one will make it a size of 2. And the emerald will be a size of 1. And make sure that for each of the brushes, you apply the mask, which is again 18-0. Okay, we got that ready. So the stick is the biggest, emerald is the smallest, and the blaze rod is the one in between. You're going to be starting with the biggest brush first. In this case, size 3. Again, this can vary depending on how big you actually made your tree. If you made it even bigger, you might be able to go with bigger brush sizes. But I think three usually works well. So let's start adding bundles of leaves. That's what I'll be calling them at the end of each of these branches that we made. Okay, that will kind of give an outline to how the tree will look. So we did that there, then we'll do one here, one there, there, we'll do one here, and one there. Okay, now just add in a little bit more to it on top, kind of connect them all together from each of the main branches. That looks good. For this, you're gonna have to mess around with it to your own liking, because not everything is gonna look nice. So once we have that main shape down, right now it doesn't really look nice at all. But let's hop down to the size 2 brush. With the size 2 brush, you're gonna kind of start outlining what you just did, but at the bottom. So this is gonna bring the leaves down just a little bit. We'll do something like that for that one, and for this one, we'll do it here. Again, don't be afraid if your tree is not looking the best at this point. It's not supposed to. We're still gonna have to go back and clean parts of it by hand. Okay, that kind of works for now. I want to expand that part a little bit more. So take your time with this. Not everything is gonna be correct the first time around. That will work for now. Let's hop down to the smaller brush. So with the smaller one, what I like to do is just pick random points to kind of bring down just a little bit more. This adds a bit of inconsistency to the leaves, which helps it get that natural look, which is something that we want to do with most of the trees that we make. It all depends on how you're using them. So we'll do that. I want that part to go down just a bit more. Do that there. Now, avoid having parts like this where leaves are just kind of floating by themselves. Either just break them or you could connect them. Now, once you have your general shape like this and you're somewhat happy with what you have, now just go around and start cleaning some of the parts up. Maybe some of the parts are a bit too high, or you have leaves where you don't want leaves. It's gonna be a lot of practice for you to get this right and to your own liking. And it's okay if all your trees don't end up looking the same. They're not supposed to. You know, even though they're the same, technically the same species, they're not gonna be identical to each other. So with parts like this, I want to break that down. How is that shape? See, that's too thick there. And for the most part, this kind of works. We'll break that. Okay, once you have, you know, a shape that you're happy with, we're going to be doing the leaves like this, where we extend some of them down 2 to 3 blocks. So this is just kind of random. Don't even think about where you're doing it. Just kind of see, okay, I could bring that down a bit more, probably that down a bit more. And just go around your entire tree doing this. You do want to avoid doing it though in the actual middle part here. You want to do it more on the edges, since the middle part is kind of a bit higher with the leaves. This part could use it a little more. And I think we have something that we can be happy with. Yep, this will work for now, at least for the tutorial. Again, you can take your own time when you're making your own tree. After you have this done, actually I do want to edit this, just tab that. After you have this done, we're gonna get back to working on the trunk. So we're gonna start adding the fences and the stairs to the trunk. This is completely optional, again. I kind of like to do it because it makes it look a bit thicker. It adds a bit of texture to it. It's just a bit more interesting than just having the regular logs on it. But it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. And the cool thing about this tree in general is just how you could change the palette on it. You can easily make it into some sort of birch tree or even a spruce tree, something like that. You have a lot of possibilities with this, and just by doing this tree, you're already learning several concepts from world data and things that you could apply to any other trees that you make yourself. Maybe when you start designing your own trees, that's when it starts getting even more interesting. I'll do that there. A little bit here. There we go. And we are finished with the tree. Now, it did take a little bit longer than the past tree that we did, but that's because we had to use world edit. If you're already familiar with world edit, then this tree should be pretty simple for you. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any suggestions for any future tree types that you want to see, let me know. I'm really excited for all the other videos that are coming out. So far, the channel has received really good feedback, and you know, it's been doing really well, and I'm pretty happy with that. So I just want to thank each and every one of you. For now though, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to drop a like down below and subscribe so you don't miss any future content. Take care.